For anyone who grew up playing Tekken in the 1990s, Lei Wulong seemed just like another fighter on the roster. A Hong Kong policeman with a flashy fighting style, five animal stances, and a little bit of drunken fist thrown in for good measure, right? Cool character, fun to play. However, hidden behind those five animal stances and that drunken swagger is one of the most deeply human stories ever told in a fighting game. It's a story of a man who lost his partner to murder, who was betrayed by the woman he genuinely loved from the heart, a man who was stabbed in the back by the very colleagues he served alongside, a man who spent decades fighting for justice, thanklessly, quietly, without any recognition or reward, and who was then forgotten completely by the franchise that created him. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of Lei Wulong. For anyone who picked up a controller in 1995, Tekken 2 felt like something completely brand new compared to all the other games. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. You have a 3D platformer here. It had a bigger roster, deeper gameplay, characters with real personality and real immersive stories. And among those characters was a man who immediately stood apart from everyone else on the roster. Lei Wulong, or some people pronounce him as Lee. On the surface, he seemed like Tekken's new answer to Jackie Chan. A Hong Kong super cop with a fighting style so creative, so complex that players are still discovering till this day new things about him a decade later. He had five animal stances in Tekken 3: crane, snake, panther, dragon, and tiger. And he had the drunken master sequence as well. A fluidity of movement that made every fight feel like you're watching a Jackie Chan film. But beneath the surface, beneath the flashy stances and the drunken stumbling, was something much darker. Lei Wulong wasn't just fighting for sport, he was fighting for justice. He was like a modern day Batman, because before we even meet Lei properly, his partner already died, murdered by international mafia. And that wound, that loss never properly healed, would drive every single decision Lei Wulong made for the rest of his story. Now, you can relate this to so many movies. You can relate it to films like Robocop, Time Cop, even Heat starring Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. For anyone who followed Lei Wulong's journey beyond Tekken 2, what came next was truly fascinating. Not everyone expected this from a fighting game character. A genuine human story. Something that growing up I can relate to now. Not as a kid. And the fact that they were putting this in video games says a lot by the developers. After the second tournament, Lei returned back to his police work. On the surface, everything seemed okay. But the super cop was back on the job. Justice was being served. But underneath, the cracks were already forming. His girlfriend, the woman he loved, had grown tired of waiting for a man whose entire life was consumed by his duty and his danger. And you know what she done? She ended up leaving him. This is so deep. This resonates with me. I mean, I'm sure it resonates with someone you know, or it might even resonate with you. Sometimes you sacrifice your life for your partner just to give them a better life, but they end up leaving you. Now, this is the part that really hurts. She didn't just leave Lei. She left him for his own assistant. Talk about adding insult to injury. The person who was supposed to be working for him, the person who was supposed to have his back in every situation. Think about what that means. Think about when you brought a partner around your friends and you think they're your friends, but really they have their eye on your woman. This is the definition of betrayal. Betrayed at home by the person he trusted the most. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was just the beginning. For anyone who's ever hit rock bottom in their life, I have, and I'm sure loads of you guys have too. Lei Wulong's Tekken 4 story will feel uncomfortably familiar. Because by Tekken 4, Lei wasn't just heartbroken. He was broken completely. A 2-year operation to bring down a major crime syndicate. 2 years of dedication, sacrifice, undercover work. Everything collapsed around him. 2 years flown by. And when it fell apart, the people around him didn't really support him. They didn't stand beside the man who'd given everything to the police force. His rivals within the police force, the people who were supposed to be on his side, went directly to his superiors. They used his heartbreak and they weaponized it against him. They blamed his personal failures for his professional collapse. Now, how many of you guys have gone through grief, heartbreak, and you try to go back into a professional environment? Now, this is a man who dedicated his entire career to justice, stabbed in the back by the very institution that he served. That's not a video game storyline. That's a story that millions of people go through every single day. And that's hidden inside a 2002 PlayStation 2 fighting game. Namco told that story with more honesty and humanity than most television dramas could ever manage. Now, for anyone who ever wondering what true resilience actually looks like, Lei Wulong's response to hitting rock bottom tells you everything. The comeback. He didn't quit. He didn't give up, guys. This is so important. And at his lowest point, reputation destroyed, the careers in ruins, heart completely broken, Lei Wulong found out that a crime syndicate has sent an assassin called Nina to eliminate professional boxer Steve Fox. And this broken, battered, humiliated version of Lei Wulong got up from the ashes. He entered the fourth tournament. He tracked Nina Williams around the world. He successfully stopped the assassination and captured her. For one brief moment, it looked like the comeback was complete. Then Steve Fox intervened, helped Nina escape. We know now that Nina is his mum, and Lei again was left with nothing. Except he still brought down the syndicate. No headlines, no recognition, no ceremony. Just a man doing the right thing because it was the right thing to do. That is the epitome of Lei Wulong. That's his true nature. And by Tekken 5, the Super Cop was back with a new mission. Sent to Japan to chase Feng Wei across Asia, teaming up with actually Steve Fox, the same man who humiliated him because justice mattered more than personal grievances. The comeback was real, guys. Lei Wulong has survived everything life threw at him, and he was still standing. For anyone who played Lei Wulong across the multiple Tekken games, there is a detail so small that actually most people may have walked straight past. But once you notice it, you actually can't unsee it. If you look at the early Tekken games, Lei Wulong spoke broken English. His accent was thick with his Hong Kong roots, which is fair, that's where he's from.
Let's go. You are not good enough. Please.
Now we fast forward to Tekken 5. Something changed. His English was different. It was fluent, it was polished, it was confident, and it sounded a lot more American.
So, you're the one causing all the trouble. It's true. Detective Lei Wulong of the Hong Kong police. I'm placing you under arrest.
Now, most people assumed this was just a voice acting update, a technical change that, really meant nothing. But think about what it actually represents. This is a man who spent years operating in international environments.
Please, tell me about it.
Fighting criminals across multiple countries, working alongside people from every corner of the world. And of course, he had to evolve. Of course, he grew. The language change isn't just a technical oversight, in my opinion. It's character development hiding in plain sight. Lei Wulong didn't just become a better fighter across the games. He became a more complete human being. And that small little detail alone that nobody really talks about shows exactly how much depth was actually built into the character. Now, for anyone who followed Lei Wulong all the way to Tekken 7, his final appearance in the franchise carried a bittersweet quality that's hard to shake. He returned as a Season 2 DLC character, still fighting, still chasing justice, still undercover this time, investigating Kazuya Mishima and the G Corporation's illegal activities, right? The Super Cop had never stopped working, and this is what I love about it. And there was something else revealed in Tekken 7 that showed the other side of Lei Wulong completely. And then Tekken 8 arrived, and Lei Wulong's story just, boom, vanished. No ending, no resolution, no final chapter. Like, I have so many questions. Like, did he find peace after everything he lost? Maybe, like, you can give him the journey of Wang Jinrei, A spiritual journey, maybe he becomes a sensei, maybe he becomes a monk, maybe he starts his own Shaolin temple. Did he close the case on the Mishima Zaibatsu? Because Tekken 8 walked away from this story without ever finishing it, it hurts me. A man who lost his partner to murder, who was betrayed by his girlfriend and his colleagues, who spent his entire career fighting for justice with no reward and no recognition. His story genuinely ends with no resolution, however, with silence. For anyone who grew up playing Tekken, Lei Wulong was always there. In the arcades, on the PlayStation, in the tournaments, in the memories. Every time I hear Jackie Chan, I think of Lei Wulong. He will be truly missed, and he has one of the deepest and most human related stories this franchise ever told. We understand Tekken, it has fantasy, it has all sorts. But this story is human related. And this is why it's a genuine story of loss, betrayal, and important resilience. He's a good man, refusing to quit even when everything is on fire. That story deserved the ending. Lei Wulong deserved his justice. And me, Ozzy XP, I will never stop saying so. Why he doesn't deserve his flowers? He does. I would love to see Lei Wulong return and his story continue. And I miss playing this character. If you want to see Lei Wulong return, guys, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of the story. And if you're a Lei Wulong fan, guys, subscribe and be part of the family. I am Ozzy XP, a 15-year tournament veteran. I've entered countless tournaments. I've ran my own events. And I will be continuing creating content for you guys. I appreciate every single one of you. God bless.